I don't care how much time you spent in XRP. Look, I've been in XRP for a tremendous amount of time. I've talked about XRP so much on the internet. I just realized something about XRP and this whole question about will XRP replace SWIFT in the future? And it's completely blown my mind. And it's given me so much clarity on what I need to do from now on this channel. And I know you're going to like it. So to bring you up to speed, if you're not up to speed at all on this question, the whole question about will XRP replace SWIFT comes with some prerequisite knowledge. I said that really funny. We need to give you some knowledge if you don't know about this already. I'm going to explain what SWIFT is and what XRP does. XRP is a digital asset. We're going to get into that in a second. It's my largest holding, and I'm sure it's one of your largest holdings as well. So SWIFT right now operates in the world of payments. Money moves all around the world all the time, right? And so SWIFT operates on one of two layers that make up a payment. Every payment is made of two layers. The first layer is a messaging layer. This is where the sender and the recipient talk about whether the account details are right. You know, if you imagine Bank A talking to Bank B wants to know which account the money's going to be sent to. And they talk back and forth, they verify and say, yes, this is all good. Then after that, the money is actually sent. So the value is sent on a different layer. Now, money being sent is sent by payment processors. Messages being sent is basically done by SWIFT. And SWIFT operates with 11,000 financial institutions. It is the most trusted, the most used. It's the guy in the game for sending money, right? For the messaging layer of the payment process. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words because I'm so excited. Anyway, as I was thinking earlier, but first let me get into XRP as well before we continue this thought. So XRP is a cryptocurrency that allows you to send massive amounts of money in very short periods of time with lots of security in doing so. If you look at payments, traditional payments between bank to bank, the failure rate is massive. It costs a lot and it takes 1 to 5 days to actually send the value over. So you have all the messages, the value only gets sent over about a day to 5 days later. When you compare that to XRP, XRP is doing these transactions in 3 to 5 seconds. But basically, I would say pennies for the transaction fee, but it's not even pennies. It's like so cheap. Anyway, so clearly there is this concept of survival of the fittest in terms of technology. The best technology will always win. And so when you compare the two, understanding that Ripple and XRP also operate on the same language of payment messaging as SWIFT, it poses this idea that XRP could at some point replace SWIFT. And I've done the thinking, and I know exactly the percentage progress that we are out of 100%, how far we are with XRP in that journey. How close are we to actually replacing SWIFT? And I know exactly what we need to do to get it there. And that's why I'm so excited. So if you're enjoying this video and you're excited, getting that excitement back for XRP, just like I am, hit like on this video and it will share it with more people. If there's someone who needs to see this video, also share it with them as well. So another thing that I haven't really talked about here right now is that the fact that XRP can do transactions so well and do these transactions anywhere in the world. It's made for cross-border payments because cross-border payments are the most expensive payments you can possibly make. What it does is, if XRP is adopted, it means something called Nostro Vostro accounts are no longer required at these big financial institutions. These Nostro Vostro accounts are basically where, because the traditional system is so inefficient, these banks have to hold vast amounts of capital in varying currencies just so they can do these payments to other countries. That is wild. XRP allows that money to be freed up. All that money that's being stored up in rubles and Chinese yuan and pounds and all of these different currencies, it means you free up that capital. Why is that important? Why does that matter to you? Well, because, and this is a big revelation, they will do something with that money. And I am making the argument here is that that money would be used to purchase XRP and any other assets that would help them operate better as banks. Now, I've got reasons for thinking that, right? Why is SWIFT still in charge, and why hasn't XRP actually taken over already? Well, there's actually loads of things that go into that. Let me think. Man, there's so much going through my head right now. This one thing that Swift has going for it that Ripple just simply can't, it actually is more about time in the game, is this intense level of trust. We know Ripple has been around for, I think it was like 10, 11, longer, 15 years or something, right? It's had time to have the trust, but there have been barriers in the way of that trust that it's only just now, literally just now, and we're not even fully in the clear that we can start building trust. It's absolutely insane. I always thought that the trust was being built from day one, which it kind of is on a smaller scale. But we need trust on a global scale, and the only way to get trust is to have full regulatory clarity. You need time in the game. You need proven time in the game as well to show that you're actually just a better option. You would need Ripple to be in a situation where they can't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter what happens in the market, whether the market goes up or down, Ripple is there serving clients all the time. And I'm not saying they're not doing that, but if you have let's say there's 4 different variables that would stop someone building full trust, well, you cannot build full trust unless all of those obstacles are out the way. You have to. And so we're just now getting out of that regulatory clarity one. We're just getting that regulatory clarity now. Now we need actually more time in the game. And this is astonishing for me, but we'll get into that in a second. And one of those obstacles, and this is where it gets juicy, one of those obstacles is price stability. Price stability. Now, this is where the whole thing, this is where I got to in my mind. This is where really I've got to previously to this point, only just now realizing that actually this means a lot more than I realized. Because if XRP were going to take over Swift, XRP would need to exhibit price stability. Okay, that's one part. In order to have price stability, we know that the price of XRP has to be high. But the thing that gets the price high is trust and usage and taking XRP out of circulation. But that can't happen. But Swift won't be overtaken until that happens. So it's a chicken and egg situation. You can't have price stability without the growth of the asset first. And if you do have a stable asset and then it's adopted, then it's no longer a stable asset because it's going to continue going up. So you can't have both at the same time. And I was thinking, that means there is a stalemate. There's a stalemate continually, forevermore, if there were no other variables, which we're going to get into. There would be a stalemate forever between Swift and XRP. You can't have, that could never happen. It's kind of like this thing that could never happen, because in order to replace it, the price would have to be stable. But in order to be stable, the price has to go up, and it needs something to happen. It needs a catalyst to make that happen, like Swift, to make the high price happen for it to become stable. But you can't have both at the same time. And so I was thinking, what is the thing that makes that happen then? Because if you're in that stalemate forever, you're in the stalemate forever. Am I saying this right? Or am I just, I don't know. I'm struggling. It was a lot easier in my head when I was walking. Maybe it's because I wasn't saying it out loud. But anyway, what I realized is that there are external factors that can take place to allow one of those things to happen. And once one of the things happens, then it all functions the way we wanted it to. And then you start looking at the bigger price predictions, right? When I look, I'm going to answer the question of the video, but I'm going to get into like what we can do about it to make it happen. So hopefully that'll be enough to keep you in the video. It is my estimation, considering the trust that XRP and Ripple have built to date, the partnerships they've had, the fact that they've got through this regulatory hurdle and past this court case, I believe that XRP is about 20 to 30% through their journey already of replacing Swift. I don't know if you feel like that is optimistic or underplaying it, but I think that's a pretty reasonable way to look at it. From the studies, it seems to be from the moment of global exposure. From global exposure, I'm saying that we're about to approach this global exposure moment. I believe we're about to approach it. I don't think we've had it already. It will take, and this is from human psychology, from studies that I've been looking into. I just love all that stuff. It takes about 6 to 8 years for a global market to build sufficient trust for something to become a household name. 6 to 8 years. And that is 6 to 8 years after first global exposure, which we haven't had yet. So if we had the first global exposure right now, we would be looking at, what is it, 2025 right now, 31 to 33, 2031 to 33, when we would actually see this moment where sufficient trust has been built that would allow XRP to the environment to take over something like Swift. So it kind of aligns, like when I think about this, it kind of aligns with the frameworks for CBDC installment into the globe. You know, I look at 2027 through to 2030 as that big moment when CBDCs are really integrated. And then we're looking at 31 to 33 for when this timeline of potential things could happen with the Swift XRP natural selection moment to happen. Now, there are things that can speed it up, and this is why I got so excited. This is why the moment I came into my office, I turned the lights on, I sat straight down instead of preparing myself for this. And it is that there is something called the mere exposure effect. It's a psychological thing that happens. The more you are exposed to something, the more familiar you are with it, and the more trust you have with that thing. What does that mean, and why am I so excited about it? Well, you should be excited about it because I'm coming back. I'm back with XRP, and it's not that I was ever gone. I was just talking about other stuff. XRP is still the biggest part of my portfolio. That hasn't changed, but the excitement has come back because I feel like I've now got a purpose in the XRP space. I previously felt like just one of the XRP people talking about XRP. I didn't have a purpose other than hopefully my bags will get bigger, and hopefully I can help some other people as well along the journey. This is different because I know now that if I talk more about XRP, being one of the larger channels in the XRP space, completely underutilizing the audience that I've built and the trust I've built. If I talk about XRP more and I dive into these big questions, more people come to these videos, more people get into XRP, more people trust XRP. Some of those people work for financial institutions, and then global exposure and trust at scale can take place, which increases the likelihood of the globe adopting XRP and therefore doing something like replacing Swift. And replacing Swift is just one part of that. There are so many different like explosion points that can happen. Swift being replaced by XRP is merely one of those, merely one. And so I now have a purpose. I'm back. I want to talk about XRP more. And starting next week, that's when it begins. Starting next week, I'm going to say there's a schedule, but schedules are really hard for me. But the point is, I'm going to try and get in front of you 3 times a week. The first video will be on a Monday, and that will be like a video that's covering the things that are happening in the XRP world. Video number 2 will be a deep dive like this on a specific question related to XRP, so I can drive that exposure to more people, to get more people to know about XRP, to increase the likelihood of a massive event like this happening because of the mere exposure effect. And therefore, we all benefit. Your largest investment stands the highest likelihood of growing. My biggest investment stands the highest likelihood of growing as well. And we all win. Then on Thursday, so we'll have like a Monday, then a Wednesday, and then a Thursday. The Thursday is going to be a live stream every single week. I'm going to come on for about an hour. We're going to talk about everything. You can ask me questions about the research I'm doing and everything. It's going to be a great time. I want you to join me for all 3 of those. And here's the mission. I want you to join me on all 3 of those and bring people with you. Share the videos with people, because every share and every like that you make on my videos and anyone else's videos in the XRP space is actually tangibly getting us closer to an event like this happening, which benefits us all. Anyway, with that said, I hope you can see the excitement's back. Like, I'm back here. We just had a child. I was away for, 3 months or so, happened with family stuff, but we're back now. And I'm super excited about how this is going to move forward. What I will say is that over the last kind of year or so, I've been working with clients non-stop, getting them incredible results. Like, I can't quite believe it. It's been an absolute pleasure of mine to be doing that. Well, the course that I have been talking about, the Blockflow program, is now adding another course. And this course is absolutely mind-boggling. We all know that when a Swift event like this happens, when XRP replaces Swift, or the multitude of other things that can happen with XRP, we're going to have a ton of money, and a ton of money that we don't know what to do with, right? So students in my program right now are following a very specific cycle. You go from exit strategy. How do I plan for taking profits with my crypto and planning properly so I can reinvest later on in a bear market? But having that strategy, to execute the strategy is one thing. Now you've got realized gains. But after that, the big question is, what do I do with this money? And that's what this new course is all about. I've already dove in, formatted, filmed the first module of 10 modules that's going to allow you to build your very own new wealth system. This is a document you can give to any professional that you want to install into your team, and they'll know exactly what you're attempting to do, the way you view the world, and what you want to do with your digital assets. It's pretty unbelievable. Now, I say all of that is because this is the time to get serious, right? If we're getting serious about strategic thinking and planning for the future, and that's you and your portfolio is kind of, more than $80,000, this is really something you should be doing. And I can't stop getting results from my clients. I've just figured it out. They've got the system. I've got it down to a science. I've done it so many times. I've heard every question, and I've built resources for every question that you might have. So I urge you, if you are interested in participating in the BlockFlow program, click the link below and it will tell you more information about the program and what you stand to gain from it. And with that said, you're going to like this. Stay emotionless, and I'll see you in the next one.